Welcome to the Riffs and Rhythm podcast. My name's Paul.
My name's Kevin.
I, of course, like the rhythms better, because obviously they're better.
I like the whip better because it's better.
And here we go.
Woo. All right. So what's up, Paul?
No, not much, man. So, hey, how was Bike Week?
Like always, amazing.
Did you get thrown out? Like you've shared a story once before about getting thrown out of your own gig.
This time it was smooth as silk.
Oh, you behaved yourself. You behaved yourself?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I can't make guarantees of that nature.
Yeah, Kevin behaved himself. Come on now. Yeah,
Bike
yeah,
Week is
yeah.
great because it's what I've been able to manage to do is take one of my favorite vacations and turn it into a profitable experience. So what I get to do is I go camping a couple of 100 yards away from a stage, and I just wake up every day and play a concert to 10,000 of my closest strangers. My favorite crowd, the biker crowd. Right? Because someone used to ask me, like, why do you play? Those are sketchy places. Like, why do you play biker shows? And I'm like, because when you bikers...
Because I'm a sketchy person? Come on. You set me up there, man.
No.
I literally slapped my knee on that one.
It's because when bikers like a band, you can tell.
Yeah, that's fair. We've talked about, I wouldn't consider myself a biker, but I lived in Daytona and been around and seen in a lot of places, and there's you could tell when the right man is performing, and because that's a tough crowd.
And you got to think of it too. The biker crowd is not the kind of crowd that you think of from the movies. If you're going to buy a chopper, you're spending $30,000 on that thing. It's not just outlaw trailer trash. It's upstanding citizens. Like my motorcycle cost me $20,000.
So you're saying you're an upstanding citizen?
Well, I said there's upstanding citizens there.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you weren't present company included.
I'm just a guitar player. I don't know what's going on here.
So anyway, so you already heard him chime in there on this conversation. We've got back in the podcast there, Lefty Hathaway. He is back.
Welcome back, Lefty.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me back.
Yeah, so what do you think about this whole Bike Week thing?
Bike Week, I've actually never been, but I did go to a very bike-centric festival. I played down in South Georgia a couple of years back, and
Angel City?
I don't even remember.
No?
No, I don't even remember. I just remember leaving that weekend, meeting some great people, and having a great time, and I just had a blast. Great community, and as you said, it's not where the stereotype lays, and I think that's probably true with so many different cultural happenings. But I had a great time, and they frickin' love music, man, and so if you rock it, like Kevin said, they'll let you know, and they'll also welcome you with open arms. So it was a great time.
Yeah, and the type of music you guys perform, right? Very southern rock based and very blues based, and fits that. You're not busting out with some R&B kind of stuff that's gonna kind of throw off, like going into the good old Blues Boys band into the Texas Roadhouse, right? And start playing blues and you have to play Rawhide.
It's like we were talking when we were in Memphis, Paul. It's like music and food have this parallel where we were talking about barbecue and blues music, right, and how they're it's about ingredients and it's about preparation, and there's nothing complex about it, but if you use good quality, the people who enjoy that element, their voices are heard. They let you know.
Right. Yeah.
So
music and food.
Music and food go together quite well.
We have a theme going on because Jake talked about. Remember, he said ribs and rhythm. We were going to start a whole
ribs and
ribs. Ribs and Rhythm. We were going to get in the back of a flatbed truck in Memphis and drive around and sell blues and ribs, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Sure.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Ribs and Rhythm.
Can we include whiskey?
Of course.
Asking Kevin, look at that face.
Yeah. So whiskey and rock and whiskey.
Yeah. So yeah, food and booze, or food and music definitely go to hand in hand for sure. Yeah. So speaking of, yes, real quick segue here. As speaking of, we're talking about ribs and music. Have you ever been down to Rock and Ribs down in is it Davie? So this is Nico McBrain's rib joint or restaurant. Drummer for Iron Maiden.
Oh, okay.
He's got a place
Oh,
there.
wow.
It's a small little place, but every year they do a big toy thing. He comes out and plays, and you got bands that play down there. Most of it's all metal bands, right? But you walk in this place, and it's like full on Iron Maiden stuff.
Oh,
Everything,
awesome.
right?
Never been there.
Yeah, great food. Ask Brad because we went. I had to bribe him after helping me tape an episode with Tito Puente. So so we were down there in that general area, and we went to the episode. Let me take you to here, and so we had a great ribs lunch there. So yeah, for sure. So I had a Trooper, one of the Trooper beers. You ever see Iron Maiden has their own beer, and anyway. So, but yeah, so food and ribs. So, but yeah. So thanks for coming back on, man. So
I'm really glad to be here.
yeah,
I appreciate y'all asking me back.
No, I think you've got, again, we've talked in the previous episode about, I've kind of just most recently met you, and you and Kevin have, known each other longer. You're in a band together, Brothers After All, which is great. And then you have your own projects, so which is great, as well. And, obviously speaking of your own projects, right, you've got your own music as well that you've been making and putting together. And you mentioned the last episode was, this is the first release since for nearly 10 years, right?
Right. Yeah, I had the last time I worked on releasing music, I was working with a record label out of London, Plough Lane Records, and we recorded an album in Nashville, and basically it was not a great experience as far as business relationship, and then the label actually disbanded, and it was one of the deciding factors of me not publishing any more music for a bit, and then of course also I was focusing on building my family, and but you take 10 years of not trying to be productive, and you actually write a lot of music. So now I have a lot of music that I want to put out, and I'm really hungry to, not concerned as much about people listening to it now as much as I am about my great-great-grandchildren, knowing that I created and left something. So I feel like I have a responsibility to that, to leave something, and hopefully it's good enough and my heart's in it enough that my great-grandchildren will hear it.
Isn't that kind of a very interesting thing that I don't think most people kind of, maybe creative people do, but most people that aren't can create, whatever the type of arts they produce, that this is something that is forever. You put out, whether it's a painting or something music or a poem, a book, or whatever, right? These are things that are put out there into will be there forever, right? It's been created. That,
in a sense, a canvas is a tombstone.
Wow. Okay.
Right? But that's what I mean. It's that
Yeah.
you're leaving something, and I don't know how the artistic process is for you, Kevin, let's say, but for me, I don't try to write songs. I have songs stuck in my head, and for me, and especially in my spiritual side, I feel like there's a reason for that. So I think it's really important. I feel like I have a responsibility to myself and the universe to do it. That sounds pretentious,
No.
really pretentious.
No, it doesn't.
No,
It
it
sounds-
doesn't. No.
Yeah, because like that's the primary source of stress is not doing what you're driven to do.
Right.
And so as a creative, we're driven to create. And when you don't, like something's wrong. You get a little shaky, a little weird. Like I'm a performer. Like before being creative, I'm a stage performer.
Yeah.
And so like what I'm made to do is play on stage. And then now that I've been in this creative phase for years, my own music on stage. And when in those periods of my life when I wasn't doing it, I wasn't right. I wasn't right in the head. I wasn't right in the heart. But something was missing.
Right.
There was a problem, and I didn't know what it was until I got back on stage, and I'm like, oh, that's what's wrong.
Yeah, it's a certain anxiety.
Yeah.
If you have withdrawals from it, and you don't know what those withdrawals are, and that's a hard way to function socially when you don't know what it is
Yeah.
until you get back up on there. Like I was saying last week when we were like, I like to show off, and that's just an output for me. It's my valve, it's my release.
Yeah.
So
So tell us about how Monkeys on Parade came about.
okay, so during COVID, I wanted to, and not to get too technical with it, but I had been working on some church organ arrangements and learning different voicings and stuff like that. And I came up with a hook with about 6 or 7 chords that were it was based in C minor, but it was a couple chords, and that hook kind of created a 2-bar expression to me, and I just built the song around that. And then when it came to lyrics, I was going through at the time kind of a breakaway from my partner, and I like to write about real life experiences, and I feel like they're more genuine. And I basically wrote a song that said, if you and I aren't going to continue for now, then we can go ahead and have fun on our own and be social individuals. And whenever you're ready, I'm ready to get my armor back on and, crawl back into the storm and deal with the things that were knocking us about, if that makes sense. Yep. So I'm happy you want to part ways. It's fine. We're happy. But whenever you're ready, I'll go to war. Let's do it.
All right.
All right.
So having heard that,
It's
we can listen to this with a deeper lens into the meaning.
Great.
I think that's always, again, for you guys that are creating music, everyone's always interested in any music or appreciate, like, where is the story, how the genesis of this creativity of this song, right? Or how they come up with this idea, because obviously there's some sort of inspiration, and sometimes there may not be, but most of the times it is inspiration, life experiences, etc. And that kind of helps give us a little lens into, as we talked about, right? In Memphis, right? You can't force the blues.
No. No, and
No, certainly not.
I actually wrote the words after I wrote the arrangement. I wrote the words when I was in Seattle, Washington. This is during COVID, and I went to go spend some time with my mother out in Seattle, Washington, and I was away from my family, my wife, and my 2 kids, and I wrote it out there, and then I polished it up while I was driving back to Florida to patch it all up. So it was definitely real life stuff at the time.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's so much. All right, so here we go. So this is Monkeys on Parade, Lefty Hathaway, right? So check it out, and we'll mention it where you can check it out there in a second here. So Kevin and I are going to go ahead and give it a listen. We'll give it our review here. We'll talk through it and see what makes the song, right?
Yes, of course it'll be the riff, but we'll see.
Of course, it always is when you say that. So here we go. Monkeys on Parade, Lefty Hathaway.
Take a listen to the whistle round the top. I've been frozen with the notion that you're mine. Do you see your heart?
So far, Kevin,
It is
I don't hear any guitar.
divine.
I like it so far. A lot.
With its blood pouring out like wine.
I got to say the lyrics sound great.
Keep my
Oh, yeah.
mind from melting. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh, there's the guitar. Imagine that.
if I ain't by your side, it can't wait. The monkeys are on parade. And I can't waste your time if you ain't in line since you went away. Oh, I come a running when I hear your sweet talk.
Soulful, baby.
Listen to that.
And now I'm frozen with emotion and our minds. You're a banshee commenting on the nature of my crimes. Yeah, but the devil's in your dreams and running wild. You don't have to help me. No. Oh.
Great structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I ain't by your
Definitely a step ahead.
side, it can't wait.
From Shaq's.
The monkeys are on parade. And I can't
It's missing
waste
a rhythm
your
guitar part.
time
Okay.
if you ain't in line since you went away. Oh, symptoms of the
Does he?
dead. Watch your head space. I'm not that mean. I just take everything with an ounce of
See, I
rage.
mixed the guitar and the keys. The other thing. Kind of riff where it feels like you heard it before, but you know you haven't. That's all. All this non-slide stuff is Tim. Ah, yeah, good job. Yeah.
Testify, testify.
Okay.
You don't wanna put the past away. Satisfied.
Got a good riff.
Oh, satisfied.
Are you coming in at the end here?
To live my life this way. Raise the white flag into the storm. I'm coming home. Yeah. If I ain't by your side, it can't wait. The monkeys are on parade. And I can't waste
I know the story. It sounds like the monkeys on parade is kind of like saying, okay, it's on.
since you went away. If I ain't by your side, it can't wait. The monkeys are on parade. I can't waste
Lyrics,
your
thoughtful song,
time
simple
if you ain't in line since you went away.
having a vocal take.
Yeah, the big finish at the end, drums.
So yeah, Hosny finished that off. Hosny Frank is our drummer in the Brothers After All. He's one of the drummers, him and Michael Shabo. And I just remember when we were cutting it, I told him, because we'd practiced, what song is it? Allman Brothers song where they end up with the timpani.
Mountain Jam?
Mountain Jam at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
end. That's exactly what I did. I was like, do the Mountain Jam timpani type roll at the end of it. But yeah, so Monkeys on Parade in the 20s and 30s in England, it's kind of what the old unhip people said when they saw the teenagers going out and dating and on the street and courting each other. And so it was kind of a way to say, you know, sure, if you don't want to hang out with me, I can be young and out there and see what's out there and go. So and
Cultural reference I was unaware of.
cultural reference, but at the same time, when I told my ex-mother-in-law, because me and her are close, when I told her about that choice, she's like, you know that it's 2023 and we're in America, right? You know? So I was like, all right, good point, but shut up, whatever. I wrote this song and did this, so, you know.
It's a good song.
Thank you.
But
I'm pretty proud of it.
I would say, like what you said last time, you were like, when things are good all over, it's just one blam package. And I can't pull out, I think both the riff and the rhythm are important in this song.
What did you say last week? What did you call it?
The riff them?
Yes, I would say that this
The
is...
riff-them.
I would say that was it.
It's a riff-them song.
Right. So we did put it together at first a little higher tempo, but I intentionally kind of dragged it and lazy because, intentionally speaking, I'm reluctant to be out there by myself. So I wanted it to kind of drag, and that's
Okay.
you know. So originally it was a little, and the riff is actually from that what I was saying, the church chords. Ba-da-da-da-da. It's very churchy, but
It's very laid back, and I don't know
It
if it's a you know, say
It's a lefty kind of vibe, though.
It's
It's
Are you-
definitely a lefty vibe in that
you know,
song.
are you
Well,
right
thank you.
playing behind the the drums or whatever, but the rhythm is playing behind a little bit, kind of like I said, the drag, right? It's very groovy,
if you're on an inner tube and you're tied to a boat, you're kind of getting tugged along. That's how the drums are. It's like they're being pulled along. That's what I mean by reluctancy.
You're ahead, right, and the drug, right, yeah, yeah, which is difficult, right? I'm sure, because I have not had the pleasure to play with a keys person, but it's like we've talked in the last episode, is this uniqueness of keys piano is a blend of both the guitar and drums, right? As you said, the left hand's playing the bass and the rhythm pattern, and then the right's playing the chords and guitar parts,
The color.
the color.
Yeah.
That the drums, who's following who? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess in the Brothers After All, you got two drummers, a percussion player, and you got you, who's kind of I'd say from the outside looking in, you're kind of leading the group here, right? Because again, being singing and playing, the keys. Am I off on that, or?
Well, I would say in that ensemble, who's leading who is constantly changing.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair. Okay,
I think with that ensemble, basically the Allman Brothers did a really good job of having multiple storytellers, whether it be melody, riffs, singing,
yeah, okay, yeah.
song structure.
Right.
But then it was delivered on a plate of, two drummers, really up until the 90s, to where it's there's a driving force behind the storytellers, and back to how we as humans listen to music, where our heart is generally more open to hearing a storyteller when it's friendly, and it's friendly when it's the right groove.
This is so friendly, right? And the more I get, learn, meet new musicians, etc. That is in the sense of jam band, kind of groovy, certain area of that. Again, I've talked before, is right. I was not really brought up or exposed to some of the things, right? Country music, even, right? Been pretty much just straight rock, and British invasion stuff, and growing up until you get older, right? The irony is that typically, by the time I guess statistically, the study is 27, 29, you have encapsulated your music, that you will not really be reaching out for more new music. You've kind of you've kind of got your, this is my music bubble, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's, the irony is, as I've started to kind of grow a little bit more, whether it's blues, whether it's country, whether it's a little bit more jam band, or those, it's like, it's a whole different world. Or jazz, or things like that. It's a whole nother other genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The different styles of music share a lot, but they also have unrelated elements. And no, I totally agree. By the time you're in your late 20s, you're pretty much set in what your style is that you like. But it's important to be open-minded too.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
I mean, it's like not ever trying a different flavor, of ice cream. Like, you're stuck with the same one. I know you like it, but don't at least try something else.
Yeah, you're setting your ways kind of thing, right? Yeah, but no,
too much great music out there.
Oh,
Just listen to one style.
So wait, so again, I know we talked a little bit about this, Lefty. You talked about last episode that you've kind of came over to the U.S., bounced around, toured with Leon Russell, and you landed here in the Treasure Coast area. How long you been in the Treasure Coast area?
I've been here since, I think, 2018 or so, and I moved here. Again, I wasn't recording or writing music. My wife at the time is a sea turtle veterinarian, and she works for a university here. And obviously, if you're going to be a sea turtle veterinarian, Florida's the place to go. So I moved down here as a family man. I love it down here. In the 20 years prior of traveling around the country, I didn't do much in Florida. And so when I moved down here, I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure, but I wasn't focused on it. But it's been a growing love affair with the community. I frickin' love the music community down here. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's really great.
Yeah, a lot of great people.
I almost, again, I live down here in Palm Beach. You guys live up in, in the Treasure Coast. Again, for those that are listening, most people know it's South Florida, Treasure Coast. Don't know what Treasure Coast is. Know Palm Beach, Miami, and so forth. But I have to say, people that live here in the 561 and Palm Beach, etc. This is a little. Probably not. They probably won't sit well. But to me, I think the Treasure Coast music scene is probably more vibrant than Palm Beach County's music scene. Again, I live here, and but again, to say it is, whether it's places up in Fort Pierce and Stewart, and again, musicians we have on, I just think that's like. There's a lot of great musicians.
There really is.
Like yourself and, Mike Farrow, give a shout out to Mike, Chris, our good friend, Chris Springer, Kevin, there's a lot of great places and a lot of great musicians and, people, please get out. This is what we're talking about, right? Here, and maybe in Barron's, confession, maybe Lefty, right? I had not heard or cross paths with you until Memphis
a month ago.
Yeah.
Or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And, and I think I said to Kevin, when you guys did the blues, the initial blues competition in, where was the place again you played?
East Ocean Pub in Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked in, and I remember seeing somebody stand outside, and I'm like, who the fuck rolls up with a Hammond piano on there, and it's like, it's Kevin's guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The Treasure Coast music scene is awesome, and
yeah.
I've been learning to appreciate it more and more all the time.
Me
because
too.
you can go You know, to see what what other people pay, $100 or $200 for, you're going to go to a concert and you're going to drive for a couple hours. You're going to have to spend like $100 on dinner. You're going to go and get overpriced beer, at the whatever amphitheater. You're going to pay $20 a beer or whatever.
It's now called the Riffs and Rhythms Amphitheater.
Riffs and Rhythms Amphitheater. You can just go down to any Treasure Coast restaurant venue and sit down and get a great concert, and it's every bit as valuable of an experience as a national act.
I'll tell you something. As far as I've lived in a lot of music markets. I've lived in the Southwest. I've lived in Central. I've lived in the Southeast. I've worked in a lot of markets, and even when we were in Memphis, let's say in January, there's this competitive nature between bands. There's this I don't want to give this person exposure and support because it might take away from mine. There's none of that here. There is none of that here. I will show up. We'll all show up to our community's performances, which is great.
Yeah, it is a good thing. I mean, I had a friend of mine. His name is Jason Montero. We got to get him as a guest, and he told me something years and years ago. He looked at me. He's like, you're one of the reasons why I moved here, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
Nice. And he was like, yeah, I came and saw your band, and I was asking you about gigs and if there's good places to play. And most people say, oh, no, it's terrible. You don't move here. We don't want you here. He's like, he said, you guys were so cool and so helpful. I was like,
you say that all the time, right? It's like, oh, you like it? Oh, Florida's terrible. Don't move here. It's an awful place. Don't come. We don't want any more people.
Yeah, but if you're already here. But that was before I took on that attitude.
Yeah. I got
many years before. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, y'all were so cool and so welcoming. I'm like, I said, I want to be a part of that kind of scene.
Yeah, me too. It's why I constantly refer to the shows that we communally do as church, as the people come out and see it, as the congregation. It's not, those aren't buzzwords I'm using. Those aren't things I'm saying to sound like hip. I truly feel it because everybody's coming out and supporting each other.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it's a real refreshing change from being in a 600,000 person population industry town where there's 500 bands and they're just not there for each other because they're all trying to be the person at the top of the pile who will step on someone else's shoulders. And that's what I did for 20 years is work in those kind of scenes. And this scene is more like it's music fans for music fans. Like players.
And we're fans of each other.
That's what I mean.
As musicians.
As musicians. We're the music fans for music fans. Which is beautiful.
Music family.
Music family. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's well put.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, that's what I call my fan bases, the Kevin McLaughlin Band family.
Yeah, they're a sexy bunch.
Yeah.
They are. They're awesome. The Kevin McLaughlin Band family is the best one ever.
Are you a top fan of Kevin McLaughlin's
Yeah,
page?
if you are. You'll get recognized as such.
Yeah, become a fan.
I love my fans.
Yeah.
You just infomercialed that.
Of course. Yeah, we planned this in advance because we're a top-notch
No,
show.
I mean,
Come
I'm
on.
totally being serious. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no, but no, I know I'm not. I don't mean to diminish, but in seriousness, but no, you're right. I think that's when I started the other podcast, Drums and Rums, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lefty, it was before COVID lockdown happened, and as I decided to continue through doing the show, the more and more to start talking to, and the people in the community in Treasure Coast and all over, the local musicians, how much now COVID impacted everybody in a different sort of way, right?
Of course.
But where we had, if you're a local musician, you had a restaurant that closed down, you can't play anymore.
Yeah,
and that's
I
your
saw a lot
livelihood.
of
That's
that.
your monetary, right? And then, of course, in the spirit, the alcohol business, that means you're not selling booze, and so there's a whole virtuous cycle of those things: venues, musicians, entertainers, and so forth. That all's tied together, and I think that's something where people kind of learn about who they were and how to come through it, right?
Right.
And yeah, it was a tough period for people that are full-time musicians, right? Yourselves, right? You
Yeah,
guys,
but
right?
in Florida, better than ever. I mean,
We luckily because
hear
we
about
live here.
people like we were
Right.
in Memphis. We still hear about people talking about how the scene is just now reopening, and I'm like, what? We were closed for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
Like,
we
where
were
were you?
fortunate. We were fortunate in this state, right? Yeah, for sure.
We were very
for sure.
fortunate. I
Yeah.
mean, and we didn't. Our death rate was higher than a lot of them that were closed for a year.
They're
I mean,
dying.
our life rate, I should say.
Well, they were dying to
our
come see
survival
Kevin
rate was
McLaughlin
better.
play. That's right.
Yeah, well, hopefully not only dying in the emotional sense.
There goes your fans.
No, but like seriously, I, as far as career wise, like 2020 was I worked more in 2020 than ever in my whole life. Because a lot of people were being precautious and taking themselves off of the market, canceling their gigs, and I stayed out. I played.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I stayed home, but I was blessed with an awkward situation where, again, my partner being a pathologist and a doctor, and also just very terrified of the pandemic, begged me not to go out, and all it did for me was stick me in my room with my piano, and I got to write for like
Yeah.
2 years. I wrote so many songs.
yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's all a matter of how everybody polished the turd,
Right.
if you want to call it, right?
Of course.
It was
mean
it was an interesting time because as a performer, right? I couldn't perform, so I started doing live streams, learned how to do live streams.
Exactly. Yeah.
And weird, but I started to learn how to romance the camera, perform to a chunk of glass, right? Mm-hmm. And then go back out on like live and perform again, and it's like, there's people here. Like, what do I do? So I had to live stream myself so I'd feel comfortable. But it was only like 6 weeks. We weren't playing anywhere, so it was like such a weird transition.
Yeah.
Really bizarre, but it forced me to have some, camera skills, which is
Well, yeah.
handy
I mean,
nowadays.
diversity is growth.
Yeah.
In every sense.
Yeah, no,
You know what
no
I mean?
question. Yeah,
That's why it's important that the universe throws curveballs.
well said.
Yeah,
well
yeah.
said. I
Oh,
like
that's-
that.
that's a great-
I like that.
Well, it is because
That's our sound clip. It's important that the universe throws curveballs.
Absolutely. If you don't have curveballs, then you become straight and narrow. Straight and narrow is boring. Man.
I'd say it's better than saying, right, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Right?
Yeah,
That's kind of
yeah.
what the point.
It's
right?
morbid.
But yeah.
Well,
it's-
I think
but
when
yeah,
that phrase
yeah.
was written, people were dying left and right. And like
Yeah.
someone stole someone's puppy, and you'd take him out and shoot him, or
Yeah.
something,
Oh,
like
and
know why
emotionally,
the
then-
puppy-
Yeah. The black,
sometimes that's true, but not always.
the Black Plague. Oh, it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
like play. You stole bread. Goodbye, left hand.
Yeah.
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 Now everybody's
You'd be
wondering-
actually
going,
called Righty, actually. Righty Hathaway.
I would.
You'd be Righty Hathaway.
I don't
Oh,
know.
man.
Yeah.
So no. Again, Lefty. I'm glad. Again, I thank Kevin. To have met you, right? And again, he's got a lot of great, folks that I've meeting for the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
so-
Paul Robertson, official podcaster of the Kevin McLaughlin Band Memphis Experience.
That's
so,
right.
thank you.
And roommate of Lefty Hathaway.
I know. That's right. I have a pair of his underwear that I will when he become when he is when you earn a Grammy, I'm going
Dude,
to
if
sell.
if you frame my underwear and sell it on eBay, that's gross.
Well, I know that when Kevin sent the text message out to everybody saying, "Hey, here's the lost and found that I have collected from the house."
Shit, you
And there
really
was a
did.
sock.
You really did have some of my underwear and like one earbud, right?
Yeah.
It was like one earbud, one sock, and a pair of boxers.
Yeah.
I had the glove. The glove was mine.
The single glove.
Yes, the single glove
Single
was mine.
sock.
Yes, because if you can't, the glove, like O.J. Simpson, if you can't fit, you can't acquit. But then I saw the air.
Well, you threw away the other glove. glove? You guys were upstairs and you had to throw glove away.
Yes, but when
That's
I saw the
scary.
AirPod, I was like, I would have been going crazy missing my AirPod, right? So I don't know. So that was your AirPod?
It was
Was mostly everything else yours? Let's be honest.
pretty sure.
Well, you had to get going because you
No,
guys
a
were
bunch of
leaving
stuff-
early that day.
No,
Yes,
because
yeah.
just as much
Yeah.
stuff was mine. I pulled it out of the pile before I took the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
just let's be fair. I forgot
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but yeah. So again, it was with a great time, and now I call you a friend now, and now
Absolutely.
learning more about you and following you, and then for those that are again, check out Lefty, and his music, and whether it's his solo music, his original music, or Brothers After All, or any of the projects he's done. Definitely, he's an awesome guy. And again, he's
Thanks,
he's
Paul.
got stories, and I love to hear more of his stories because I know he's got some road stories that probably may not be safe for
Safe
we
for
may have to
mixed
change.
company?
Are probably safe for mixed company.
Are we going to do a road story from this episode, or are we going to go?
So Lefty, I know you shared a road story. Do you have another road story, and or do you?
I have a couple good road stories. I
what's
feel
your best- what's your best
last
one?
Week,
Yeah.
Last week I did a pretty immature story, so I should redeem myself.
I have to say, Lefty, I did like it actually.
It was a good
Did
story.
you?
It was a good story.
Yes, I've been in those
So don't-
situations,
yeah.
and they are glorious.
Well,
Yes. So don't feel down on yourself.
No,
we
I
liked
don't.
it.
And also road stories. A lot of times they're not fables of the educational nature. They're more debauchery. So when you ask me that, it's hard to say. But I do remember meeting a really famous. I opened up for a really, 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 really famous person in Atlanta a handful of years ago when I was at Leon, and I just remember when I met him, and I'm going to keep his name quiet because I don't want to poo-poo some guy, but I do remember thinking that the entertainment and music industry is wild because this guy had a handler. And this is like one of the most famous people. Okay, it's fucking Bob Dylan, all right?
You warmed up for Bob Dylan.
But hold on, so
Good job.
So I've never in my life met a handler for a musician. And when I say handler, it's like when everybody in the green room's hanging out before he walks in, he has a handler come in and be like, "All right, everybody, he's about to enter the room." And I've never been told in my life not to look someone in the eye, but I got told to not look at somebody in the eye, and that might be the most bizarre thing that I've ever experienced in the entertainment world. Is that you have like a game show host looking dude who's like 6'6", who's very intimidating, and make sure that you don't. And so that to me was the epitome of that whole experience. You know what I mean? Of being in a stream of, big names type of thing where you're just told, don't act human to this person. So what do you think the first thing I did was?
Now that I know who you are,
You looked at him.
I looked him straight in the fucking eye. I go, "Hey, Bob, I'm Lefty. How you doing, brother?" And try to shake his hand. It wasn't received very well, and then I had to go sit out in the back. But,
You were put in timeout.
yeah, I got put in timeout. So I'm not. Yeah, I'll never be a politician. I don't jump through the right hoops, man. So okay, that's a redeeming story.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
'Cause
no.
he looked at you and no, don't look at me.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
It's like, what did he say?
A lot less lowbrow than talking about a bunch of boobies in Lubbock, Texas.
So all right, so yeah, no, look, so let's peel back all that, and as however you may people may interpret it, but you met Bob Dylan.
yeah, that's amazing.
That's again, even if with that short interaction to be that close and look at him in the eye when you weren't supposed to and shake his hand and say, "Hey, I met Bob Dylan," and then I got sent to
Yeah,
the corner.
Well, I promise you could have taken the same scenario when I was like 7, in a classroom.
Did
and
you?
been to the-
Well, let me ask you. All
the
right, so
corner dance,
we
you know?
talked last week with Jake, and Kevin was sharing a story about meeting Toby Keith backstage and kind of fanning. You're right.
I wasn't the one who's fan.
No, I know you weren't. But your ex. But was it more out of that you were told not to do something, or was it out of that it was Bob Dylan that you were?
It was like fuck you for thinking that you're not human, even though you can be human. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. I'm just saying we only have so much time on this planet. Blah blah blah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Who do you think you are?
In
that
other
you're
words,
bigger
really,
than-
what I'm
right.
saying is I'm a jackass, and at the same time, I'm also a class clown. So if someone tells me not to do something,
You're
I'll
gonna do
generally do it.
All right. So lessons learned. Let's not say.
Don't have a perfect show next time.
Yeah. When I don't think that's ever happened.
Trying to use your own logic against you.
Yeah, I know.
So is Bob? I mean, other than touring with Leon Russell, and getting in trouble with Bob Dylan, who are some of the other big names that you've kind of crossed paths with here that you can share?
Oh man. It depends on what you mean by big. I mean, I've been in the room with a lot of people: Stevie Nicks, Neil Young. John. What's his name? John Mayer.
Okay.
Opened up for him a while back when out in California. I'm kind of drawing a blank here.
Yeah, but so I
I've
guess
met
it's
several people.
It'd be, I
in the
guess,
industry.
What's your resume, right? If you put out and say, "Here's my resume," I hope for this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy.
Well, so it's hard because when it's like it's not you and it's not your art.
I get
you kind of get taught to shut up and not
because you're
do that.
hired,
Mhm.
right? I get it. Yeah.
But at the same time, I've felt very lucky. I've been in Bob Weir, Phil Lesh, Butch Trucks. Like a lot of players, Chuck Lavelle, David Grissman. There's been a lot of people, but then it's weird also, like Bootsy Collins.
Oh wow!
There's just this random stream,
right?
And I've never been like the person to go out of my way when I'm working to go and meet the famous people or get pictures or anything like that. I've just never been too attracted to it. And also, it's obviously look how I act when I do. I act disrespectful, so I have to watch my own personality. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it presents itself to you rather than you present it to the city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No,
I don't have many mementos of my life because I couldn't be bothered. As far as
Well, I get it, because when you're working at that level and you start taking souvenirs, like you get all fannish and then you lose the respect of your peers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, high profile people, don't want to spend their time. It's like they want to associate, even when they go out and meet the crowd or the fans. They're traveling on the road. They're working hard. They're doing their junkets. They don't want to meet fans. They need friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
well said.
So it's like at a certain point, you just kind of learn to not fanboy out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Very.
I
Yeah.
get
Right.
that totally.
Right. So
I can't control myself around Kevin.
I wouldn't either, man.
No, I know. I fanboy over him all the time.
Such a sexy bastard. Are you sporting
Clearly, you've been drinking. Yeah.
It's your fault.
Because it's about time.
It's about time
It's about time.
to get down with the KMB.
That's right. So yeah, so
Down with the KMB? Yeah, you know me.
I actually saw Naughty by Nature in Daytona Beach during the spring break, but we'll talk about that later
I got to see a picture of that at some point.
We're definitely going to get way off track here. But speaking of about time, So we have this episode's MVP here. So that so Lefty had shared his MVP last episode. There was Al Beltran, so big shout out to Al there. So our MVP this week is Mr. Bradalicious Brock.
Mr. Brad Brock, yes, yep. He's reaching new heights in entertainment technology.
That's right.
He's graduated up from the Jams and Cocktails podcast to JNC TV,
Right, yeah.
Nice.
right? And literally, the reason why you and I know each other. So, probably the kingpin of one of the kingpins of the Treasure Coast music scene, no question.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah. Brad's got his fingers and hands, and when we had Brad on the show, it was a matter of, Brad's been around a long time. When he was performing, at
I've
a
known
young
Brad
age.
since he was much younger than he is now.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
I'm not going to admit how much younger, but
yeah, Brad. I think that's a great point. There is Brad's been very tied into. Again, even there, he came up. He's come up in every episode so far that we've had a guest. Fonda talked about it. Oh, he got a kick out of the fact that we tried calling him on air on taping that.
oh
episode.
yeah, he didn't even answer us.
Yeah. So
because he's clearly too important.
he was
to
like,
talk to
"Man,
us
if I knew you
on
were
air,
he messaged. He goes, "Man, if I knew you were going to call me, I would have." Like he was like,
yeah, that's what they all say.
right,
if I knew you were calling,
Yeah,
he's probably
right.
having way too much fun to talk to us.
for sure. But yeah. So definitely, Brad is our MVP. Kevin and I's MVP this week here is for this episode, and yeah, Brad's a super great guy. He helps us and support, and again, it's about back to being mutual. We're helping each other, we're growing, helping grow. Right, all tides. I screw it up all the times. Like all tides rise. That whole analogy. And but yeah, Brad, definitely check it out there. I know most of you probably that follow us follow Brad already, but again, if you don't, check it out. Yeah, he puts on a great show. He's a great buddy of ours, friend of ours, and call him a brother in arms, right?
No
he's,
question.
Anything Brad asked for, I think both Kevin and I can definitely say we would do anything that he asked for within reason. I won't do that. I will do anything, but I won't do that.
Yes.
And what is exactly that?
world
Well,
is-
tune into next
the
episode
world
to
is-
find out what that is.
The world has always wondered what Meatloaf was talking about.
That's right. Yes, for sure. So
I think that song was written right after his sentencing. I'm not sure.
So for sure. So all right, left.
But like now,
Yeah.
also, we'd
Yeah.
like to talk about the fact that this podcast is growing. We have Dino here.
That's right.
Our filming expert.
We have actually people working on our show.
And we've got
now.
a crew now that's given us cue cards. Now there's no pressure,
Yes.
but it says on the to-do list here, it says there should be hilarious bits. And I'm suddenly feeling pressure. Like I'm supposed to be funny. How am I supposed to?
You have hilarious bits. Gross.
I don't think that's what he meant by hilarious bits. Okay.
Are we supposed to talk about I have hilarious bits?
Bits.
This is embarrassing.
Visit
Well,
Kevin's
My
OnlyFans
bits
page.
are-
and-
That's right.
Yeah, it's called hilarious bits. Make sure you use the magnifier on your phone to watch that episode.
Yes. So we will be subscribing to www.hilariousbits.com there. So and check out Kevin's hilarious bits. So oh my god, yeah. So big.
What? Did
What?
you just say check out Kevin's hilarious bits?
Yes, that will be.
That's,
That's
that
on,
voice is
sound
cracking as I
I know,
repeat
no,
that.
because that's what you're promoting on your KMB, as subscribers.
No, I
right?
have never promoted my
Dude,
hilarious
just,
bits.
hey, look, you're far enough in your life. Just go ahead and put it out there. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Last time I put my hilarious bits online, I lost a girlfriend. But that was a purposeful effort.
And we're not talking about our Kevin's Catfish Adventures.
It's getting all
episodes.
hot in here. It's just a sweatshirt on.
Actually, I've seen his catfish adventures.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's amazing.
That was a segment.
That was our
we
segment from
retired.
the first season that we
Yeah,
retired.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
we retired of that. So that was so bizarre episode.
A
So,
lesson in
Yes.
dealing with online scammers.
Yes.
Always important.
So okay, so let's make sure we read our cue card here. Some miscellaneous music video. We talked about that. So yeah, so Lefty, before we wrap up here, again, you're the guest here. what do you got coming up here? What do you want to promote? Again, I know you got some new music. You got some new music coming out also a little bit more in the future. That, as you mentioned, you're starting to release more songs.
Yeah.
What do you want to keep people to check out on? All right,
Well-
so look at that camera and tell people what they want. Show your pretty face.
Take your phone out, go to your Spotify app, Google or search Lefty Hathaway, follow me. Every 6 weeks for the next 2 years, I'll be coming out with a single. And then after about 16 singles, I'm going to release, like a double album, vinyl album to have the physical version of it. I'll be playing all around the Southeast for the foreseeable future. I have in April, we're playing Brothers After All. We're playing the Fort 20 Fest. And then my own band's playing the Fort 20 Fest too. And then come summer, we're going to be around the Southeast U.S. And then come fall, we'll probably, we're working on doing support for a big act, but I can't announce it yet. So hopefully that'll come about.
Oh, you
over the
Luck with
summer.
that.
You can't announce it on our show. Do we have to come back?
Sorry. Well, I have to sign the contract first.
All right.
Working on it.
Will you be the first?
He's working with a
Yeah,
band
bring
called A Big Act.
Yeah, a big act. It's a country band.
So that's
We're doing the tractor circuit, man. It's going to be big.
Can't wait. Playing in the parking lot of all the green tractor dealerships.
Yeah. John Deere sponsorship and everything.
Yes.
Do you have a pig?
Deer is
Do you have a
delicious.
pig in the for a blue prize, blue ribbon prize?
Yeah,
For- the part of the 4-H?
Yeah. The winner of the Blue Ribbon Prize gets a solo night with Kevin McLaughlin and his hilarious bits.
That's a consolation prize. I must
That will
say.
be clipped for sure. Thank you, Lefty, for
You're welcome.
providing us that clip
You're
of
welcome.
Kevin's bits.
I'm here every time you all need me.
Perfect. Yes. No. All right. So make sure you check out all of Lefty's stuff there. Definitely.
Thanks,
Again,
guys.
it's about promoting. Again, go and actually download. Go actually and just don't stream it because again, the streaming we're not going to get into that, but again, this is what it's all about. Come to the shows. Come to the gigs that have tickets. Again, support. Brothers After All. Come. All local music here. Like me, I hauled my ass all the way from one side of the Palm Beach County all the way to the other to come down and see you guys on a Sunday rainy night.
It was.
Yeah, it was
It's,
rainy night.
But we had a great time.
We really did.
We
and,
reserved the VIP couch for you right in front.
I saw it. I sat on that couch and I was like, when do the lap dance start happening? But I guess I was at the wrong place actually. But if you actually can add that feature to your show.
Probably not.
Okay, well, all right. Some things to work on if you're looking for feedback.
We'll use the cue card girl for that.
Are you talking about for the Brothers After All show?
Yeah.
We'll play I'm No Angel. And
Oh,
then,
there you go.
And then like a parade of them will come out.
Yeah,
It'll
so
be-
we'll get you.
There
We'll
we
get
go.
you on the guys on the strip club circuit there.
I got a guy.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Earmuffs.
So yeah. So yeah. Look, this is before we wrap up here. So yeah, big shout out to your crew there.
Yeah, these guys
yeah,
are awesome.
Yeah. So
Good to have you.
guys, good job, guys.
Try to contain your excitement, guys.
It's late.
It's late, yes.
Yeah.
So definitely check out all of our stuff as well. To subscribe, like, listen. We do actually have also both the video podcast and the audio podcast. Wherever you get your audio podcast, we're available on YouTube. Subscribe to all our socials. We do some shorts there. We got some good shorts that we put some fun.
YouTube Shorts, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty,
Riffs and Rhythms on
it's-
YouTube. And
I think we're even on TikTok and
are we on Spotify as well?
we do have a Spotify list. Remember, we do have a
Yes.
playlist there.
We have
so
a playlist,
yes,
all the
that's right.
songs we've
So we
reviewed.
will add
So we'll
yours.
add yours.
Yes, to our
Absolutely.
playlist. Yeah,
Fantastic.
So, yep. So yeah, again, it's all about promoting and having fun. This is what our show is about, right? We may not be 100% seem like we're polished, but we are. But we're having a damn good time, and I hope you are too.
Absolutely. So, to bring it all around to a close, my name's Kevin, and this is the Riffs and...
I am Paul, and you all know it's better with the Rhythms podcast.
No, they don't all know that.
Well, anyway, they'll learn to live with it. So, cheers, y'all. Have a great night. Thank you, Lefty, for coming on there.
Of course.
Excellent. Cheers, y'all.